Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I have some special guests. Special. This is Chelsea and this is Katie. You've heard me talk about them before. Katie's the one who was crazy enough to go to Nicaragua for 2 years, and then we were the idiots who were crazy enough to go down and visit her because we love her for whatever reason.
Aww.
So these two crazies decided to come and visit me this time up in Minnesota. Almost said North Dakota, that's not right anymore. And I talked them into doing some booktube videos. So there's going to be 2 coming up. Watch for the second one. Anyway, this first one I got from Ariel Bassett, and it's the Time and Space tag. So we each chose 3 books that have some sort of story behind them, whether they're related to our relationships together or just to us in general. That's all we got. So we're just gonna go in a line. Chels?
So the first one I've got is Ender's Game. And I remember distinctly we had like a library in high school and like one librarian. And I'd go in and I had a very strict like genre that I did. Like it was like fantasy or like, yeah, it was a lot of fantasy or animal books. And I was just really bored one day and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, do you like sci-fi? And I was like, absolutely not. Having not read any sci-fi, but I just knew that it was not my genre. And anyway, so she recommended Ender's Game to me. And I just remember the twist at the end, like, still stays with me, even though that was, like, a couple decades ago at the point, and, like, really sucked me into the world of sci-fi, even though I still don't like hard sci-fi. But yeah, I just think it was just really much, she was like, you have to try this, and I've never had a librarian be like, nope, you have to take this book with you or not.
It's a good book, though.
It is a really good one.
It just threw me. I got to the end and I was like, wait a minute, he did what now?
I know, I wonder as an adult if I would, like, see it coming more. But yeah.
I mean, as an adult, I did not.
Okay.
There's that.
I appreciate that neither of you said what the twist is for this guest.
So my first book is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is the beginning of a trilogy, so very loose Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I will admit the first one is not very good. The second one's amazing, the third one's okay. However, this lovely decided to read it when she was in Nicaragua, and she gets very angry when she reads books, as I think I've mentioned before, and this was one where she read the riddle, she figured it out, and I got so many text messages about her. Why doesn't Feyre just solve the riddle? I'm like, I don't know. She's illiterate. She's not smart. I don't know. Take your pick.
I'm pretty sure the riddle was told to her. Like, I don't think the reading thing was an issue.
It probably was told to her because she couldn't read it.
Yeah.
Like, so many text messages from Nicaragua to North Dakota while she's reading this book. And then the second one, Mist and Fury, or whatever it is, she and I stayed up till 2 in the morning, my time, because she was just so angry. She desperately wanted Feyre to just kill somebody.
I have a lot of feelings.
She really does. So, yes, I fondly remember our conversations about this trilogy.
So, I read basically the exact same kind of book for all of my youth.
Yeah.
I did not expand, I did not question.
We read a lot of Christian fiction when we were young, Katie and I.
A lot.
And meanwhile, Chelsea was the liberal of the group, and so she got to read exciting books.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We got Karen Kingsbury.
We got Karen Kingsbury. So then, when I went to college, I was just like, wait a minute, there are other books? Okay. So, the first book I have is a recommendation. And I picked this symbolically because I really don't remember a whole lot about this book. Thank you for knowing me. But like this book was recommended to me by like the dorm dad, and so he was like, I was working a late night shift, and he was like, you need to read this book. This like resonates with your soul. And I was like, oh, okay. And it just like represents the first time that I started like really taking recommendations from other people and like diversifying my reading interests, which was a big moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't actually like The Alchemist that much.
I'm trying to remember what even happens. He recommended another book to me called The Book of Flying.
Okay.
Which has like a similar tone, because I remember really liking the tone of The Alchemist.
Sure.
But what I liked about The Book of Flying was that, like, the story was more whimsical, and that the setting was incredible. Like, he has, like, this city that he describes in The Book of Flying, that's just, it's, like, nowhere that you've ever actually been to before. And I don't remember The Alchemist having that kind of creativity to it.
Set in Spain.
Yeah.
Very clearly.
Anyway, that was my book.
Next one is a classic, The Good Earth
By Pearl S. Buck.
A Pre-Revolutionary China by the Nobel Prize-winning author.
Yes.
And I clearly remember we had to read this one in Coach Fulton. She was my basketball coach, as long as my English teacher as well.
It was a small school.
It's a small school. And we had to read it for a class, and I remember more than anything is that we had to do a big, like, we had to basically run the class for an hour and a half and, like, tell everything about the Good Earth, and then I think the other group was the Great Gatsby, correct?
Yep.
And so you had to go over plot and things, and I just remember
Themes, characters.
Basically, it had to be so that those people walked away in the class having read the books. Like, I don't think I ever read The Great Gatsby, but, like, I know 100% everything about it, like, the themes and the characters. And, like, the one story that keeps popping into my head is that our friend Sawyer, to, like, signal the flood, gave ponchos to everyone in the front row.
Sprayed them
Yes.
after.
And the behind spray is what you didn't know was coming.
Their
Sneak attack.
faces were great.
It was so good. They're like, wait, why do we get ponchos? Instant concern.
Instant concern. And I think to this day it's probably one of the best group projects I've worked on. Other
Hands
than
down.
We killed all group projects.
Othello.
Othello, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
God, we did another group project. Again, small school. We're all in the same classes.
All the time.
We did Othello, and we did a play. We basically reenacted Othello. It was so much fun. And then we had to do multiple choice questions, and all I remember is what did Iago give Othello? And we gave options like a handkerchief, a spoon, or something else. And it clearly was not the spoon.
We're like very proud of this. The height of creativity.
It was great.
I remember rehearsing in your basement.
Yeah, we were in my basement.
Yeah.
And then we would pause sometimes to be like, let's look deeper into this character.
Into the scene. Let's have an aside. We were very mature for high school.
We were very mature. I don't think I was that creative in college, really. Like, I think I might have peaked creativity-wise
In high school.
In high school.
But yeah, so I remember The Good Earth too for the same reason, is that, like, we really did had to go all in, so
We did.
that's the way to teach classics, teachers.
It is. And then going a completely different direction, I have On the Trail of Big Cats.
Oh, goodness.
And this one is more for Chelsea. So Katie didn't come into our group until 7th grade, and Chelsea and I became friends when we were about 8 in 3rd grade. I went up to her and asked her if she was a girl or boy because she was wearing a floral dress that was too short with leggings, and she had a bob haircut.
That was
She
the
clearly-
peak of fashion.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know. I also didn't know that was not a good question to ask because I was 8 and nobody had told me this. So I went up and look at us now.
Yes.
But in 3rd grade, at some point, we both became obsessed with big cats, and
I think I already was by that point.
That's
but
true.
you
She's-
joined me.
that is fair. Chelsea's always been obsessed with cheetahs specifically,
Oh, yeah.
and I just was like, that sounds good, and now I'm obsessed with tigers. So we had a classmate, I think his name was Josh, who had
There
this
was
book.
never a Josh.
I don't remember.
swear
I think it was a Jack.
There was a guy in the class who had this book about big cats, and for whatever reason he wanted to get rid of it, and Chelsea and I were both like, yes, please, us. And so we competed for it. We had to climb up parts of the playground faster than the other, and eventually I won, which is still a point of pride with me. But then somehow along the way of growing up I got rid of it, so this is actually a new copy, new meaning used, new copy, but and I also bought one for Chelsea because I was like, we both need this now in our lives, and every time I think of it,
Do you think
like,
it's even
aw.
accurate? Like, I've never, I
It's
haven't
not-
opened it in
What
so
is the
long.
quality of this so contested book?
It's not super in-depth, but I think it does a decent job of overviewing the cats, and every time I look at it, I'm just like, aw, Chelsea.
Fight for
It
stuff with male Chelsea too. That's also,
Yes.
that seems like good advice. Like,
This is the lesson. Do not do what men tell you to,
Mm-hmm.
or at the very least, use your common sense, please.
just be like, or I could just buy it off of you for $1 and it probably would have acted the same.
Same thing, yeah. Katie?
Okay, next book. We'll go with this one. Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. So when I moved to Nicaragua, it was an incredible experience and an amazing, life-changing journey, if you will. But it was really hard. A little Peace Corps education time.
Oh boy. Do it quickly.
You have 3 months of training, and then you move to your permanent site. I loved training. Not the best months, but like really fun months. Like I had 0 issues with it. And then you move to permanent site, and for me that was the hardest part. Just because your language skills still aren't super great. You don't know anyone in your town, and you're separated from all of the friends that you'd made for the 3 months of training. And so it can be really isolating. and like you start to kind of doubt yourself. And so sometimes you need someone to be an okay person, but you don't necessarily have that because you're so far away from everyone. So for me, my person was Walt Whitman. He's just so, like, if you read Leaves of Grass, the overarching theme is that, like, every human life has an inherent value.
She's in love with him.
I'm in love with him.
That's the simple way to put it.
He's a good person. and I needed to read something that, like, reaffirmed my belief in humanity.
And as a side note, I literally bought that book because Katie talks about it so much.
All women.
In Kari's home.
It is. It's one of those books that I have back in Colorado, which at some point I promise I will get them all and I will show them all to you. But until then.
So it's The Lost Hero, which is by Ricordan, which is the Percy Jackson series. It's like, that's the most famous, well-known one. And so I think it's just more of a representation of that series as a whole. I have bonded with 9-year-olds over the fact that they also read that book series, and I was like, you're right, that's a great, hilarious series. Like, I don't think many young adults cross over as well as how Ricordan writes. Like, a lot of young adult, you're like, I'm just gonna dumb down myself for a little bit and read, and it's just a dumb read, and I love it, and I'm gonna read it, and I don't think there's any shame in that. But I think Ricordan, I'm like, no, he's clever, and like treats his audience like they're clever and mature, and so I think it really is just one of those ones that's great for kids and adults alike. But for Kari's 18th birthday, he was coming to tattered cover, and so I got her The Lost Hero, and then we went and got our books signed. I think we were older side of the demographic in the audience.
Definitely. But it was really fun.
It was super fun, and it was just, it's fun to meet an author, right? And he just seemed, he was very nice and genuine, and like, so I have a signed copy of The Lost Hero, which isn't the book, if I look back, is what I probably would have gotten signed, but
I mean, he was there.
He was there, though, and it's cool to meet authors and see them in real life.
Yes.
And it's a Kari story, so
it is. Books have connected us to our lives. This is just how it works.
Yes.
And now we have another one. As I mentioned, Chelsea and I went down and visited Katie in Nicaragua. Ruben Darío happens to be one of my favorite Spanish poets. He's Nicaraguan, but Spanish-speaking. And I have a complete set of his works, but when I went to Nicaragua, this was my Christmas gift from Katie. She also really enjoys Ruben Darío, not as much as she enjoys Walt Whitman, because we just established that.
Fun fact, Ruben Darío actually has a poem dedicated to entitled Walt Whitman.
That is true, he does. It's not my favorite though. My favorite is Ode to Roosevelt, and he basically is just like, why are you white people coming in and screwing everything up? It's fantastic. Better than the original, obviously, but this book is just so cute and pretty, and I brought it back from Nicaragua, and Katie bought it for me, and since I love Ruben Darío anyway, I just had to include it.
My last book is, symbolically again, Morning Star. And this is meant to represent Red Rising, which Kari does not have on her shelves.
No, because I don't own the first two. As I've mentioned also other times, I'm getting there, I promise.
Okay, so this book, I picked it because sometimes you need a book that, like, reminds you of the fun of reading. And this was one of those books for me. It was like, it had been a long time since I got, like, lost in a series, and like
she also read these in Nicaragua, if I remember correctly.
I did. And I just didn't want to put it down. Like, I would stay up until stupid early in the morning and, like, woke up the next day and I kept reading. Like, I just really wanted to read these books. It's so fun. It's such a fun, fast-paced, smart, like, the characters are all smart. Like, again, like Chelsea said, like, he didn't dumb down the quality of the writing or, like, the wit of the characters.
Yeah, he just let him go.
He let him go. And, like, another thing that I love about this is it's, like, one of the most communist books that you can ever read. It's called Red Rising. On the cover of the third book, there's a scythe. Like,
I'll put a picture up. As a side note, in high school, Katie was the most communist, pacifist, Quaker person you could meet.
Yes.
Wait, is this past tense that we're talking about?
She's gotten less communist. She recognizes that it doesn't work. She still insists that socialism is what she was going for. We just insisted on the alliteration, so communist Quaker Katie was much more fun to say.
It works better. It does. Objectively, I can't admit.
Anyway.
I just really love this book. I don't know. just thought it was so fun.
I got a lot of text messages from her about that too.
I text a lot of people a lot of things when I'm reading things.
It's true.
It's true.
I have a lot of things to say.
Yeah. So those are our 3 books each for our time and space tag. I'll link Ariel's channel with the original video down below. But I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully we will see these 2 more. Until my next video. Bye.
Bye.